going to begin on page 540. Page 541. This is the hour of memory, and this is our house of comfort. Wounded by loss, we retreat from life. Our synagogue gathers us in. Into this place we bring stories and prayers, unanswered questions, tears that need to be shed. Lives recollected and carried within us. Moments of courage and laughter and pain. This day embraces them all. This place embraces us all. Now the heart opens in sorrow, for we are time's subjects, and all that we love we must lose. So let us hold fast to the love that remains and cherish the light of the sun. Today, all of us walk the mourner's path. Together, may we find strength. Page 544. Shiviti Adonai Lenekti Tamid Shiviti Adonai If you turn over to page 546, you'll see that the service for Yizkor in this prayer book has been organized in 7 thematic sections, each one marked by a light of Yizkor. And these lights are being lit not on behalf of a single mourner, but on behalf of us as a congregation. And so each reader, as they come up, is going to light one of these candles to accompany the section from each of these 7 sections of Yizkor. On page 549. Light first.
The death of a loved one is the most profound of all sorrows. The grief that comes with such a loss is intense and multifaceted, affecting our emotions, our bodies, and our lives. Grief is a preoccupying and depleting. Emotionally, grief is a mixture of raw feelings such as sorrow, anguish, anger, regret, longing, fear, and deprivation. Grief may be experienced physically as exhaustion, emptiness, tension, sleepiness, or loss of appetite. Grief invades our daily lives in many sudden gasps and changes. Life, that empty place, like that empty place at the dinner table, or the sudden loss of affection and companionship, as well as many new apprehensions, adjustments, and uncertainties. The loss of a loved one throws every aspect of our lives out of balance. The closer we were to the person who died, the more havoc the loss creates. Love does not die quickly. Hence, the grief is also to celebrate the deaths of the union. Tears are the jewels of remembrance, sad but not glistening with the beauty of the past. So grief in its bitterness marks the end, but it also is praise to the one who is gone.
Thank you. Page 557.
In the morning, I said to myself, life's magic will never come back. It won't come back. All at once, the sunshine in my house is alive for me, and the table with its bread is gold, and the cups on the table and the flour are all gold. And what of the sorrow, even in the sorrow, radiance?
Page 563.
The light snow started late last night and continued all night long while I slept, and could hear it occasionally enter my sleep, where I dreamed my brother was alive again and possessing the beauty of youth, aware that he would be leaving again shortly. And that is the lesson of the snow falling and of the seeds of death that are in everything that is born. We are here for a moment of a story that is longer than all of us, and few of us remember. The wind is blowing out of some place we don't know, and each moment contains rhythms within rhythms. And if you discover some old piece of your own writing or an old photograph, you may not remember that it was you, and even if it was once you, it is not you now, not this moment, that the synapses fire and your hands move to cover your face in a gesture of grief and remembrance.
Page 567. Haim, haim, shemarim la'adam, et haderech, et haderech. Haim, haim, shemarim la'adam, et haderech, et haderech. There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light, long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we love. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us as we live our days. These are the ways we remember. We remember as we live our days. These are the ways we remember. We remember. Yesh kochavim she'oram magia arza, rak ha'asher heim atzmam afnu veinam. Yesh anashim she'ziv zichram me'ir, kasher heim atzmam einam od b'tocheinu. Orod ele hamavhikim becheshkat halayel. Haim, haim, shemarim la'adam, et haderech, et haderech. Haim, haim, shemarim la'adam, et haderech, et haderech. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. We remember. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. We remember. We remember. We remember. Page 581.
Forgiveness and the afterlife. I do have an ongoing relationship with the dead, and I do think about the afterlife. My afterlife, that is. After someone I know dies, what happens to me afterwards in my life? Some deaths come too soon. Some deaths are unexpected. Some deaths we think we are prepared for, but really we are rarely ready. We don't usually know when a conversation is the last conversation, with so much that may be left unsaid, unresolved. So in this afterlife of mine, I am still in relationship with people who have died. I miss them. I talk to them in my mind. I ask them questions about our relationship that I wasn't ready to ask them when they were still alive. I show off my accomplishments and wish they could witness them. And yes, I still have some of the same old arguments, still trying to prove my point of view. What helps me go forward? How do I resolve these lingering feelings? Here is what makes the Yom Kippur Yizkor so special. This forgiveness prayer, devoted exclusively to those no longer with us, that comes later in the afternoon when we are tired, hungry, vulnerable, and open. During this Yizkor, I am given the opportunity to forgive myself for cutting off that last phone conversation with my father. I was always in a hurry. He always wanted to chat longer, and then he died. It's during this Yizkor that I have the opportunity to forgive my mother for her harsh ways, to let go of being angry for my sake in this world, if not for her sake in the world to come. For this Yizkor to feel honest and meaningful, I don't want to sentimentalize those relationships. I don't just want to remember the ideals and gifts they may or may not have passed down. I want to remember those relationships exactly as they were, and then be able to forgive myself and them for our failings, for what we never got a chance to repair or finish.
Page 585.
At the bottom, gratitude for the next generation. If some messenger were to come to us with the offer that death should be overthrown, but with the one inseparable condition that birth should also cease, if the existing generation were given the chance to live forever, but on the clear understanding that never again would there be a child, a youth, or first love, never again new persons with new hopes, new ideas, new achievements, ourselves for always and never any others? Could the answer be in doubt? When we fear death's decree, let this bring us solace, the memory of the loved ones who have gone before us, a vision of generations to come, through whom we reach far into the future, beyond our own lives.
Page 593.
The 23rd Psalm. No other psalm, perhaps no other prayer, but the Kaddish itself is inseparable from our experience of grief and mourning as the 23rd. One phrase, so simple and direct, yet emotionally profound, has made it so. Ki ata imadi, for you are with me. Or in the language of an earlier age, for thou art with me. To arrive at those words after passing through the valley of the shadow of death is to know, in the words of Rabbi Joshua Loth Liebman, that God contains and supports us as the mighty ocean contains and supports the infinitesimal drops of every wave. To arrive at those words is to feel at home in the cosmos, held and confronted, cared for, and serene. The 23rd Psalm does not make the promise that cannot be kept, the end of all evil, the eradication of suffering and pain, sunshine instead of shadows. It makes but one promise, only this: you are not alone.
Adonai roi lo echsar bin otet sheyar bin seini al mei menuchot yenaleini nafshi Gam ki elech begets al mavet lo yarara ki ata imati shiftecha umishantecha heva yenachamuni taroch lefanai shulchan neged soverai deshantav Hashem en roshi kosi revaya ach tov achesed yirdifuni kol yemei chayai v'shavti beveit Adonai le'orech yamim. Page 594. Let's read together at the bottom of the page. With God as my shepherd, I shall not want. The Eternal makes me lie down in green pastures, leads me beside the still waters, restores my soul, guides me in straight paths for the sake of God's name. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Eternal forever. I'm going to insert a prayer here that's not in our prayer book. This is a poem by Alden Solovey, a COVID Yizkor prayer. God of consolation, surely you count in heaven just as we count here on earth. In shock and in sorrow, the souls sent back to you, one by one, the dead from the COVID pandemic. As the ones became tens, the tens became hundreds, the hundreds became thousands, and then 100,000s, and now millions upon millions. Each soul, a heartbreak. Each soul, a life denied. El Maleh Rachamim, God full of mercy, who dwells on high, Provide a sure rest on the wings of the divine presence among the holy, pure, and glorious who shine like the sky to the souls of all who died in the COVID pandemic. God of wisdom, we pray for the souls of those taken too soon, those who were vulnerable and unprotected, those who were sacred and forsaken, those who died on ventilators, whose funerals were lonely, who didn't need to die, and those who died alone. God of healing, put an end to this pandemic and all illness and disease. Bless those who stand in service to humanity. Bless those who grieve. Bless the dead so that their souls are bound up in the bond of life eternal. Grant those still afflicted with disease or trauma a complete and lasting healing, one by one, until suffering ceases and we can stop counting the dead in heaven and on earth. Page 597. Our loved ones live in our broken hearts, and at times that brings some measure of healing. Their acts of kindness and generosity are the inheritance they leave behind. We feel their absence, but the beauty of their lives abides among us. As it is said, the name of one who has died shall not disappear. Our loved ones' names and their memories will endure among us. And these are their names on our lips and in our hearts. We call to mind those members of our congregation and their loved ones who died within the past year. John Burris, Eugene Gladstone, Barbara Jonas, Milton Callis, Leon Morris Keir, Thomas Lazinski, Marilyn Maltz, Carl Pemper, Betty Naomi Plummer, Leslie Rothberg, Doric Rosansky, Leslie Silverberg, Georgia Stark, Vincent Williams. Let us take a moment for silent prayer and reflection. I invite you to rise for the memorial prayer on page 598. El malei rachamim, sholchein bamromim. Amtsei menucha nechona tachat kanfei hashchina, im kedoshim u'toharim, kezohar harakia masirim, lenishmot, yakireinu shalchu le'olamam. Bal harachamim yaskirehem, b'seter knafav le'olamim. V'yitzor b'tzor ha'chaim et nishmatam, Adonai hu nachlatam. V'yanuchu b'shalom al mishkavam, v'nomar Amen. Merciful God, God Most High, let there be perfect rest for the souls of our loved ones who have gone into eternity. May they find shelter in your presence among the holy and pure, whose light shines like the radiance of heaven. Compassionate God, hold them close to you forever. May their souls be bound up in the bond of life eternal, and may they find a home in you, and may they rest in peace. Together we say, Amen. Mourner's Kaddish is page 606. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayed achol beit Yisrael, v'agala u'v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shemei rabbah mivarach